as young people, we have a lot of ideas on ways to include mental health in the school, college and uni curriculum. If you were successful in your position, would you be willing to help us implement mental health into the curriculum and education settings across Greater Manchester? And how would you ensure this was accessible to all?
Oh, absolutely, Lydia. I think it's such an important question. Mental health, I think, is the issue of our times. And I know so many young people are wanting more support, not necessarily to be referred for a service, just everyday support, as I was saying before. We had a pilot on this in the last 4 years called Mentally Healthy Schools. And one of the things that we did was put independent counselling within schools. So not so much on the curriculum, because I can't control the curriculum. That's obviously for the government nationally. What we can do is put support services in schools to provide that extra support outside of the curriculum. So the Mentally Healthy Schools pilot did that, and it was really successful and it was valued. And what we're now just thinking about is, well, how do we take that from a pilot to a broader support scheme? I think mental health, everyday mental health, has got to be part of what we all work hard at, and we all do. And I think at the moment the support services often aren't there when people need them. So we're very, very committed to that agenda. And the thing I said before about Couth, is something that we would want to. I don't know if any of you on this call find it useful, know about it, but I think we need to build on that and see if we can constantly improve the services, digital services, to support you. So yeah, I'd say all of that. Just to finish, I was saying very quickly about Diane Madal before. I mean, she identified this issue for us as part of the Youth Task Force. I will have a commitment in my manifesto to get all young people online in Greater Manchester. I think if more support is going to be provided digitally, including mental health support, it follows to me that every citizen then therefore has to be supported to access it. And I think we need to ensure that everyone has devices and data on an ongoing basis. So all young people online will be a big part of my manifesto, because the last year has revealed there's about 20,000 young people in Greater Manchester who are not online because they can't afford it.
Again, it's very easy for me to say yes, and I actually mean it. Not that I meant everything else said tonight, but no, mental health has been a cornerstone of Liberal Democrat policy for the past 20 years. We've said it needs to be spoken about more. It needs to be wider education on the issue. And to go back to the last colleague, it's one of those things that should be taught alongside all of those other issues of tolerance and understanding and openness about mental health. I know, mental health campaigns are having a rough 48, 72 hours at the moment. And I think, if anyone gets to see the clip from this morning's Good Morning Britain, please do. It was a thing of joy. With Piers Morgan's finally walking off set, because he was being called out. You shouldn't get away with standing up and saying, I don't believe that you have a mental health problem. Everyone's mental health problem is their own mental health problem, and they should feel empowered to share it. Piers has just actually resigned. Brilliant. So everyone should feel empowered to be able to talk about it in a safe place and in a safe way. And all of our schools should be at that point. I mean, I do, I'm going to just digress, and I hope Mira allows me. I went to secondary school in the period when Section 28 was still on the books. If you don't know what Section 28 is, go research it. It was an awful piece of local government legislation that was so ambiguous about LGBT teaching and understanding, and that basically teachers who saw bullying, didn't call it out because they thought, Section 28, I can't call out if you're having a go at someone, bullying someone because they're gay. And that was that's the extreme example of it. But so I think we're at that point with mental health, but there's no law stopping us from talking about mental health in schools. So we need to, and it needs to be done quickly. We've got high rates of suicide attempts and suicides in young people. You need a safe place. You need to be able to talk about this openly.
A very short answer, and that one is yes. It would have my complete support. And you've already touched on the fact that it is ideas that are coming from the young people themselves, and that ties in very much with how I would want to approach those sorts of issues. And again, it comes back to empowering across those sectors that you've mentioned. And it's something that is really important that we've seen so much over the last year, that schools are more than just places where children and young people go to be educated. They are real hubs of the community, and they have got a really important role, much more, I think, than a lot of us realised. And I think that is where we, all this sort of build back better and catch up for children and catch up for young people. Actually, I think that's slightly problematic in the language, because actually I don't think we need to do that. I think what we need to do is approach the entire way we come out of the pandemic and build forward into encompassing those sorts of issues, such as making sure mental health is prepared and covered. And one of the big things that I've noticed over the last 10 years is how much mental health support and provision for young people has been cut, and how much austerity has removed services that were really key to areas and to the young people in those areas to support them. And actually, rather than saying, well, we want all these, we want primary school children at school till 6 o'clock at night, working all through their summer holidays, and they must learn extra fronted adverbials, actually investing into those proper schemes and putting things back and empowering young people to understand that it's not about whether you know what a fronted adverbial is. I've managed okay without having the first clue, but actually it's about making sure that schools are properly safe, not just in the way that Izzy was just talking about, but also in a way that they are safe from a mental health point of view, where you aren't being pressured, and where there is proper support in place if there are issues that arise. And that, I think, is really key. And it comes back to, again, educating, supporting teachers, supporting schools, and making sure that message is clear that we don't want Westminster telling us that we want to have extra time in lessons and learn extra maths. We need to actually support young people, and that will impact going forward in a much more positive way.